There's a big topic right now about AI being a threat to the creativity of artists. I don't see how. I feel like it's an enhancement tool. It's real creative. Also, it does things that back in the G when I was kind of growing up doing music. I was more in the advanced side of technology as well, like Fruity Loops. And I mean, at least that's when I got into it. It was like Fruity Loops, and there was sounds like sound fonts. It wasn't even so much the VST plugins. Once we got the VST plugins and all of this stuff, it was another enhancement. However, you look back, there was a lot of producers who wasn't used to that technology, and they would look at us and tell us back in them days that, you know, Fruity Loops is not real, it's fake beats, it's trash. It's like you had to work on what they was used to working on. And it's almost like Wall Street, how they used to be paper trading and then they just switched it over to digital trading and then they started complaining about the digital trading. The people that's going to win in this game in any industry is the ones that adapt to everything. One thing I can say about AI is that, AI don't sleep. You could be sleep getting ready for work tomorrow and someone is up all night just making a freaking album. They might spend the very next day picking the songs out and mastering the album. And the very next day they releasing it. So they got 3 days, they have an album out streaming. Well, you just trying to find time to get off of work. You got to think about this. Let's consider the human's time, okay? You have 24 hours out the day, right? Most artists have jobs. So you'll have 24 hours out the day. And let's just say you work an average 8 hours out of the day. So you're working at 8 hours, right? You come home. If you have kids, you spending time with the family. You say you make it home. Most people make it home. Kids get out of school around 3 to 5. We'll put it in the middle, right around at 4. So let's say you make it home at 4 o'clock, and you're ready to spend time with the family, and just enjoy them moments right there, right? So 4 o'clock you make it there. Let's say the average bedtime you guys go to sleep around 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock get ready to wash up. By 10 o'clock you tucked in. You know what I'm saying? And so 10 o'clock, right? What 6 hours? So deduct 6 hours from your chart, right? Your time chart. And let's say you go to sleep, right? You're getting some rest because you got to wake up and go to work tomorrow, right? So that's another 6 hours on average, right? I'm just considering certain situations, because most musicians these days they do have family, and I'm gonna put it in perspective too for someone that's not a family person, someone that also doesn't work, and someone that also doesn't have kids. So let's say you get about average 6 hours of sleep. We're looking at 24 hours out the day, 8 hours going to work, 6 hours going to your family, 6 hours of sleep, which ultimately leaves you with 4 hours of free time. Okay. So let's say you're using that entire 4 hours dedicated to your music career. Do you really think you're going to make it just only putting in 4 hours of the day when there's artists who actually made it, who's successful, and they put it in them hours in daily? They didn't go to sleep. Some of them didn't have a job. Some of them just struggled it out. Some of them didn't have kids. Now, we all have the same 24, remember that. In that 4 hours, a person is more likely to have a lot done with AI than a person who's trying to book studio time and go and make tracks and stuff like that. Let's say you go to the studio, you book you some time. It takes about 30 minutes to get there. So like I said, you have 4 hours of free time, right? You take your 30-minute ride, you get there, you did 2 hours in there, you leave again. So you get what I'm saying? You just put in, you got 3 hours right there gone. Now you got an hour of free time left. What you gonna do with that? There's people who do extra stuff on the side, man. If you're dealing with a lot of distractions, like you just going to hang out at the bar, hang out with your homeboys, that's where that 4 hours gonna go. If you're not working, let's say you just a person, you're not used to keeping it loyal with your spouse. Whether you're a male or a female, you're cheating on them. You spend an extra hour messing around with other girls on the street. You messing around with other dudes on the street. So it's like your time being wasted. Now let's say you don't have kids, right? Let's just say you just solo, you got no kids. Your spouse can ride with you wherever. You got 24 hours out of the day. You got 8 hours you're working. You got 6 hours free now because you don't have no kids and family to go spend time with. So now you add that on to the 4 hours. You got 10 hours now. That increases your chance of being more successful. Let's say you struggling it out. You living off somebody else's income, or you have a little income saved up and you don't have to go work those 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. Now you got 18 hours. Even if you're working half of those 8 hours, you know what I'm saying? You got 14 hours. So a human running AI is most likely to do some numbers more than a person who's not running AI. Now, I can understand where a lot of artists come from, where they say they don't feel like it's fair, such and such and such. Nothing is fair, man. Think about this shit. How many motherfuckers go and put on the best parlays in the sports betting game? They always lose by one freaking leg, man. Think about it. It's up to you in your life to figure out how to make it work. You have 4 to 10 hours to decide what you're going to do with your life. To me, 4 hours is not enough to be going in on the industry. Majority of the time, you have to understand that you have to adapt and don't complain about AI doing this and this and this, and you feel like it's unfair that you ain't do this and that. You ain't put in the work. And half of the time, majority of the people that's complaining, y'all suck. Y'all straight up suck. I think it's performing better than some artists. And you gotta think about some of y'all lazy. You get in the studio with some of y'all and some of y'all be on drugs. You smoking your weed. You drinking your liquor. You drinking your lean. You can't even function. You falling asleep in the studio. You get in the studio, the engineer telling you, nah, let's do that takeover. I didn't like the way you say this, and you start complaining. Well, man, I think I did it good. I think I did a good job. So, you kind of being combative. You're not even working with the engineer to make sure your stuff is right. Or the producer. Producers and engineers be the main ones telling you, the truth. But a lot of y'all don't realize, like, y'all be thinking they be hating on y'all. But the producers and the engineers is the ones who really getting y'all right. Because when you go look at these albums that's in the stores, no matter what it is, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, any album from Cash Money, Universal, a Usher album, a Chris Brown album, one thing you're going to see that all those albums have in common is producers and engineers that was behind it. And if you for a second really think that it's just easy as 1, 2, 3 to just make it in this industry, hang it up. Hang it up. If you complaining about AI doing what it's doing today, passing you up, hang it up. Because you ain't been complaining about the other artists that was passing you up. But you ain't complaining about them. But you complaining about the AI. Think about it. Put in your work. Decide if your music career is that important to you. And decide what you're going to do with your 24. So if you're only putting in 4 hours of the day towards your craft, considering you putting all 4 hours into your craft, you're only putting in 1,400 hours of the 8,700 hours in a year. So you got to consider, is your music career really that important to you to the point where you feel like you are entitled to make it just because you're a musician. Like, that don't make no sense to me. Do I think artists have more creativity than AI? Yes. AI wouldn't exist without us. It was trained off of us. So, yeah, I think we're more creative as people, as artists, as musicians, as producers, as engineers, as graphic designers, as videographers, as cinematographers, as animators, all of that, as writers. So now you're challenging a machine that's trained off of hundreds of thousands of musicians throughout the history of music existence versus one artist. The only way you're going to win against AI is if you are putting in the work. If you're not putting in the work, kiss your career goodbye. I'm tired of artists, musicians, and everybody else who's talking about AI music is soulless. I don't want to hear something that's soulless. So, if a musician wrote a song and had AI perform it in a way that he wanted to perform, you mean to tell me that's soulless? You're calling that musician that wrote that song soulless? F out of here. It might have took that one artist, let's bring it back to them 4 hours. It might have took that one artist, them 4 hours. That one person that actually took his 4 hours and put it into a song. He took the entire 4 hours of his day to write one song. And he had AI perform it. He had it produced through AI. You're calling that soulless? At the end of the day, don't complain about AI. Put more work in. Go harder. Stop being lazy. You remember how you had to worry about that other artist who going to the studio? When you stand in bed, that motherfucking artist who getting up out of the bed, getting up, going to work out, going to the studio, putting his time in, he come home, he got a song. You still in the bed. You're not just comparing yourself to him no more. You're comparing yourself to the AI as well. And a lot of producers, I was talking about this shit to one of my closest friends that's a producer. Me and him produced tracks together long time ago. And we still conversate about this production game a lot. And I was just telling him about this. You got to change the way you coming now. Stop uploading your beats to YouTube. And this is something that I was just telling him as a brother that I love because I care about his craft. Say, bro, don't even upload your shit. Matter of fact, it might be even tough for you to send beats. Don't even email them to people no more. Because the threat level of AI production is crucial to your work, because people will go on YouTube and search up such and such type beat. And when they get the beat, they write to it and they download it and they perform on it. Some artists will buy it. Some artists will lease it. Some artists will just record on it with the tags running all through it. They didn't care. So just imagine this. An artist going on YouTube, writing a song. He taking one beat that he liked. He uploaded it into this AI production system and have it remade, remixed, and flipped in all kind of different ways, tailored to the song that he wrote to it without anybody being able to notice. What use is that producer? That producer is no longer in the picture. He don't have to pay that producer. That producer never find out that he took that beat. And on top of that, even though he don't have the track downs to it, the stems, he can go into AI and have AI break down the stems of the beat and have his song mixed and mastered the way it's supposed to be without even buying the stems. A lot of artists, children, and a lot of people always come out later and they upset about the fact like, hey man, I didn't have no relationship with my mom or my dad because they always was gone. They always was in the studio. They always was doing this. They put in that work. They put in that work for them to be that successful. And they put in that work for them kids to grow up off of that income from the music. Quit complaining. Because in the next 5 years, by 2030, I guarantee you, you hear it here first. If it hasn't been heard anywhere else, the radio stations, clubs, movies, TV, a lot of that stuff is going to be 50% AI music. Watch. Anyway, subscribe, like this video, and share this video to somebody who you think that don't believe the words that I'm saying will take effect.